You think people in the other corners of Washington are kind of noticing what's going on around here regarding the Sand Dune Lizard?
I think they are now in large part because of Senator Cornyn's engagement. Because, the way the politics works is that the senators are more powerful than the congressmen. And, a congressman working for southeastern New Mexico, like Congressman Pierce, is great, and it's important. But when a senator put forth a budget amendment, or not a budget amendment, but an amendment on one of these issues, something like this, it just adds to it. What we're seeing is a building upon a building. Mike, when you and I first met, it was back there in Artesia in March. And we had about 100 people there in the room that were concerned about this issue. And then we were together again at the end of April for that rally in Roswell where we had 800 people. And you know what? What we did there is we made enough noise that Fox News noticed it, and ABC noticed it. And then we've seen Senator Cornyn notice it. So yes, we've got a building here, and we need to continue this. There's an effort we are working on right now with Roswell Chamber of Commerce, the Artesia Chamber of Commerce, and the Hobbs Chamber of Commerce to have booths at the county fairs to give out literature about the lizard. And this is real fun. I'm kind of involved in this. It's not complete yet, but we are working on getting silly bands. And Mike, you and I are a little old to know what those are, but if you have teenagers in your life, the teenagers love to wear right now bracelets that if you took them off your wrist and laid them down, they're really a rubber band in the shape of something. Well, we are in the process of getting these, what they're called silly bands. I had a teenager educate me, but they're called silly bands, and we're going to get them in the shape of a lizard. And at these Chamber of Commerce booths at the county fairs, we're going to have like a prize wheel, and you can go and guess how many jobs the listing of the Sand Dune Lizard has the potential to kill, how many jobs have been killed by the Delta smelt, how many jobs have been killed, and if you guess right, how many jobs, the third thing was a spotted owl. Sorry, I got so enthused about these silly bands, I skipped that for a moment. But if you can guess right at these Chamber of Commerce booths, you're going to win one of these lizard-shaped silly bands. Now, that's the plan. It's not quite firm yet, but that's what we're working on.
You talked about the gathering that was in Artesia earlier this year, talked about the one that also took place in Roswell, where close to 800 people gathered. You also talked about your campaign that happened on Tuesday to get people to call in regarding the ethanol stuff. Have you been amazed at how much reaction that's how this thing has kind of snowballed in the past few months to get people to, contact not only the House members but also the Senate members regarding all the stuff that's going on in Washington, regarding energy issues?
Most definitely, and it's very exciting, but it reflects, as we started our conversation with, it reflects what I like to call a change in climate. I like to play with those climate change words, but the climate we've seen change is pushed by the citizens, and that is an exciting thing. But sadly, however, the reason we've seen this change in climate is that the citizens are scared. They are afraid of what the government is doing. That's just what we were talking about earlier. For example, the EPA, saying, we don't care what you voters think. We don't care what you want. We are going to push this stuff through anyway. And it's this attitude. I don't know if you saw, Mike, because it's not a New Mexico-related issue, but it's just such a classic example of this government overreach that we're experiencing. Did you see the stuff about the EPA and the Amish in, I can't remember now if it's Pennsylvania or Ohio where this particular Amish situation came out, but the EPA big announcement came out a few weeks ago about the EPA completing a year-long investigation of the Amish because they're selling raw milk across state lines. Now, no wonder our government is in a fiscal crisis because we are wasting money investigating the Amish selling raw milk. I mean, it's just an outrage.
I know that I have talked. You and I have talked many times before this year. This interview being just the latest, and Congressman Pierce and I have talked a lot as well. I'm surprised that people have not taken baseball bats and pitchforks yet, and have decided to, march in the streets. Not starting in Santa Fe and then going to Washington. But and of course I'm metaphorically speaking here. But do you kind of think we're going to be seeing that in this country between now and Election Day of next year?
Yes, I do, and I do think it will be only metaphorically speaking, and or at least I hope it remains that way, because in general, the conservatives, the Tea Party types, are really conscientious people. They're not like what you've seen in Vancouver on television lately about the rallies or the riots over the hockey game. But, we need to see people metaphorically raising their pitchforks and marching in the street, but we do that by phone calls to our congressmen, like Steve Pierce, for example. You know what? He has really taken a lot of heat for his stand on the lizard. And you know what people need to do? Everybody listening should have Steve Pierce's phone number in your cell phone. And you need to just call up his office. And you're not going to get him, but that's okay. I mean, I've spent a few days with him recently, and it's amazing how what his schedule is like. It's just unbelievable. But call his office, whether it's the local office or the D.C. office, and just say, you know what, thanks for sticking your neck out on this lizard issue. Call Senator Cornyn. Call his office in Texas and just say, thanks for sticking your neck out on this lizard issue. Call Harry Reid and say, put this lizard vote up. We want to vote on this lizard issue. Call Senator Corbyn and say, thank you for your stand on this ethanol vote. People need to be engaged, and these guys and gals need to know that people are watching them and that people are paying attention. And what these calls do is give them the kind of backbone that they have. It gives them cover, because there's people who oppose every issue, and they're going to get hit, as Congressman Pierce is getting hit for his support on the lizard issue. The environmentalists are, really have a campaign launched to beat him up. And he needs to be able to say, you know what? My phones have rung on this issue more than they have rung on any other issue. The people are behind this. And so, literally, what we do literally is baseball bats in the street, or figuratively, excuse me. I'm not advocating violence here, as I've been accused of with my Smash the Watermelon stickers. We're talking figuratively here. We're talking getting engaged and making government work for you.
We'd like to thank Marita Noon from Energy Makes America Great for joining us on the program today. Marita, would you like to leave us with any final thoughts?
Well, I encourage people, as I've said, call these congressmen, call the senators, whatever your concerns are. And, even if you're not on my side of the issue, let them know what you think. That's how government works, and we need to get involved. On the EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org website, we have one of the tabs is Act Now. And we've got some information right now there about the ethanol issue on the Energy Makes America Great Facebook page. You can see all the past articles on this. And, Mike, I appreciate you posting them on the website there so people locally can get engaged.
That is going to wrap it up for another edition of the program. We'll talk to you next week right here.